Welcome, everybody, to Daybreak AfterDark Coast to Coast edition. And today we have a very special guest. We have the infamous Jessica Richardson from Eagle Mountain, Utah. What's up, Jessica?
Infamous. I love that. Thank you.
Infamous. I mean, come on. You're practically an OG. Before we started recording, you said you were been in the group now for about three to 4 years.
Yeah, at least. As I was saying, I knew David because he was doing flea markets, and when this popped up, I was like, "Oh, I know that guy," and I was like, "Of course I'm in."
Perfect. Yeah, flea market Dave walking around, scooping up all the good records before you got to that booth.
There you
But
go.
meanwhile, I mean, Eagle Mountain, Utah. So that's how far away is that from Daybreak?
I'm about 25 minutes south.
Okay, so not
I
that far
like
to get up
there's
to the record
actually
store.
if it was going straight north and there wasn't a mountain in the way, I probably could get there like pretty straight on. But yeah, it's about 25 minutes away.
Just blast right through the mountain. Just go right
Yes.
through.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm sure the military would appreciate that.
We're gonna build a
There's
tunnel to connect Eagle Mountain to Daybreak.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a National Guard base, like, that is on that mountain, so
Oh shit! Yeah, let's not do that.
yeah,
No, I mean they probably already got tunnels. We'll just borrow one.
probably. Yes. That's a great
Area
idea.
51 got full. Now they're just coming up to Utah. So
Yes, actually, they are.
So 25 minutes from Daybreak. But the real question, because I know we've talked last year when I was in Utah, we talked a little bit. How long does it take you to get from Eagle Mountain to Disneyland?
It's about 10.5 hour drive or an hour and a
Driving?
half flight. Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, hour and a half. That's pretty good. You make a lot of trips to Disney. Last time I was talking to you, you said you go out there like every other weekend.
No, yeah. I wish that was the last time I saw you, my pass had just expired,
That's
because we were
right.
saving
Yes.
to go to Tokyo and to Japan, and, I was doing day trips, but it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and unfortunately, they don't have those hours anymore for the flights. So we're looking at renewing our passes and, um, yeah, I'll have to, like, figure out day trips for the future. But it was perfect because 'cause you'd get there at, like, 8 in the morning, walk in the flight left at 7:30 in the morning, you'd be in the gates by 9, and you'd be home in bed by, like, 11:30 at night.
Man, I'm jealous. I'm
Take a
jealous. Here
backpack. It was amazing.
Here in Minnesota, we're 4 hours to California, 3.5 hours to Orlando flying. And then, because I live 45 minutes from the airport, which means, 3 hours, it's leave here at 5 o'clock in the morning, get there at 9 o'clock, get to your hotel. Like it's just, yeah, it's
It's
a
a
mess.
day. Yeah.
It's a day. It's a day. And I got kids now. I'm getting old. They want to go right to the park right away, but we have to like explain to them like
Like
we're not gonna waste a whole park day getting there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But
yes.
yeah. So I love the fact that we are kindred spirits in the Disney realm.
Yeah.
I purposely decorated my office for you today. I got my Disney records up, some Muppet stuff. So I gotta ask, like, we're gonna get to the first record, but what's your favorite Disney soundtrack, Disney record? Let's talk about the records in Disney that catch your fancy.
Oh, well, I have one that I've been trying to get that is um, controversial and hard one to find just because they have done multiple reprints on it.
Can I
But
guess?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, based on controversial. Is it the Song of the South soundtrack?
It is. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And I found some at our local Comic Con almost a month ago, but they were the wrong year. And so I was like,
Oh,
for
okay.
the price that they were, I was like, I have to pass. She had so many Disney records though. My favorite, like my favorite Disney soundtrack is probably going to be like Mary Poppins
Okay.
or Pete's Dragon, I would say.
Not the
Um,
remake, the original.
Not the remake, yes. The I'll Be Your Candle on the Water with Helen Reddy, yes. If we're going, like, more current and, like, animated, I would say Moana, Princess and the Frog, and Encanto gets me. Like, I love the music to that so much. And then I have a very, very, soft spot in my heart for The Lion King and Tarzan.
Okay. Okay.
Not in a
Um,
particular order.
so you haven't seen it yet, but the last episode I was talking to Bud on, and he exposed or he asked me what my favorite or what my first album that I ever bought with my own money was, and it was the Lion King soundtrack, 1994 Lion
Ah,
King soundtrack. I bought it on
so
CD.
on CD,
Um,
yes.
Right? It was the very first one. I earned my money. I think it was birthday money or something. I got a CD player for my birthday and I went out and bought the Lion King soundtrack. So I think that that's where my love for Disney records started was with all that. But as you mentioned, like the classics are so beautifully done. Um, like I have Lady and the Tramp behind me. I have the Muppet movie, which is Disney, sister, partner, whatever you want to call it.
It's Disney
Disney esque,
adjacent now.
yeah,
Yeah.
Disney adjacent now. But yeah, the new music today, like I feel so happy that I'm raising my kids right now in an awesome Disney age
Yeah.
because I find myself like my son wanted to go to Encanto and I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to. Oh, Lin-Manuel Miranda? Let's go." Like, all right. So yeah, I mean,
Right.
the music now is awesome. And I think like the classic Disney, they did so much of the music. And today they're doing so much of the music, but there's that Disney like lull there, 80s, early 80s, late
Yeah.
70s where there wasn't much.
You had like your darker ones that we don't talk about, right? Like Flat Cauldron.
Yep,
But
Black
then
Cauldron,
there
yep.
was a shift to different like Don Bluth and his studios were doing animation at that time. And so, Disney wasn't really like in the game until The Little Mermaid, you know?
Yep. Yeah, she broke through. They call The Little Mermaid the Disney Renaissance. Um, and I remember
Yeah.
as a kid, I had a cousin who wanted to watch that thing, and it was literally it would come out of the VCR into the rewinder, out of the rewinder into the VCR, and 3 minutes we were watching it again. And I remember even being a kid, like, come on, Cher, I'm not gonna watch this movie again.
But now, like,
And
every
now it's
time we
over.
go on
Okay,
that
let's do it again.
ride, yeah. My first Disney besides the one that I lost in the park, my first Disney souvenir was a Scuttle stuffed animal. Like, it had just come out the very first time I was in the park, and so, it just makes me smile, and I could listen to Poor Unfortunate Souls, like, a million times, and I would still be fine. So,
Have
I'm
you
gonna
seen the
ask you a
remake?
hot ta wait, I have not seen the remake. No,
Okay.
no,
Was that what you're gonna ask?
no. I do have a hot take. What is your least favorite?
Least favorite Disney movie?
Soundtrack, movie. Yeah, let's talk about this.
Okay, all right. You're gonna make me think here. I'm gonna go Renaissance and newer
Okay.
because that's kind of where my wheelhouse is. Oh man. All right, you tell me yours while I think of mine.
I'm gonna go with one I haven't even seen and have 0 interest in seeing, and it's gonna be Frozen, period.
Okay. Okay. I have my Frozen record right there. It's up on
Nice.
the wall.
Sorry, Andy.
I had a
Listen,
daughter at the perfect time.
I will sing Let It Go with the best of them, but, um, I think as far as, like, psychology and how kids are drawn to it still after what's it been 15 years since the first one,
Sounds right. Yep.
it's so fascinating to me, but I have no interest.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm still thinking of mine. That's a super hard question. I mean, because I love them all. I mean, if you want to go way back in time, I'm sure I could find like okay, besides the one song in 101 Dalmatians, the Cruella de Vil song, which I think is
No, there's
awesome.
more than that, yeah.
But exactly, there's more. Name one other song in there.
Okay.
Yep. 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 So I
But they
mean,
were
like
all that way though, really, like,
they
think
were.
about it,
They
like,
were.
Lady and the Tramp only had one that was really significant, you
Yep.
know, wait, the Siamese Cat song is significant?
Isn't that Aristocrats?
No, the "We are Siamese, if you please." There is, like, the 2 cats that are singing around the baby,
Is that in Lady and the Tramp?
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
So
all
that
right.
has 2.
Let's get the Googles up because I thought that was Aristocats.
Also, I'm gonna blow your mind right now. So we went to Disney almost 2 weekends ago. Well, it'll be a little bit longer probably by the time this comes out. So the beginning of October, and we were walking through and we were just talking about the Aristocats as a
Yep.
property. Do you know when that came out?
39.
No, it feels like the 80s. It came out in 1970.
Oh, geez. I was going. I
Yeah.
thought. I thought Aristocrats was one of those, like, original ones, like, back with Snow
No,
White.
like Snow White, no.
Yes. So I'm wrong. You are right. Lady and the Tramp, the Siamese cats are in okay. Ugh, I'm gonna use that in my next Disney trivia at the pub.
Yes, do it.
But but yeah, Enchanted, like I was saying, I love Amy Adams, but there's really like when my kids watch that one, that's one that I can tune out real easy. And I feel like that's like the telltale sign of a not a bad Disney movie, but a not so great Disney movie.
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
but they have been getting into now that I mean, now that Disney Plus has blown the doors off of everything, like they're getting into like the Descendants, the zombies
Mm,
movies. And like my
and they all
kids
have
went as
music, it's all on Sirius
right.
XM. Yeah,
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 yep. My kids listen to Kids Place Live all the time, which we're not endorsed or sponsored by Kids Place Live. But if you have children, listen to Kids Place Live. It is a great little Sirius XM radio station. But yeah, like it's on there all the time. The music today in Disney movies is popping.
yeah.
Like, and I think like we can say, okay, 89 Little Mermaid was the Disney Renaissance for animation. But I mean, and I'm gonna ask you this: where do you think the music renaissance started with Disney movies with like our time now?
Ooh.
And I have an answer for this already. So
Look at you. I know, and I'm gonna think about it because, like, the those movies, the Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, like, look at the people that were making songs for those,
yep.
between scoring them and, the Phil Collins, Elton Johns, the Celine Dion's, and People Bryson's, like, an Aladdin. Do you know what I mean? Those were I feel like that was a pinnacle, and then there
Hmm.
was a huge lull. Like, yes, we had cute songs with like, I actually really love Pixar songs. Coco, I would put there at my top actually, next to like Encanto and the other ones that I said. But you have a Sarah McLachlan song and you have, Randy Newman doing the scoring. But then I feel like there's another lull until you get Moana. And
Okay.
then Lin-Manuel comes into the picture.
So you said the movie that I'm thinking that kind
Oh,
of I
okay.
feel I'm gonna say just yes, you hit all the points on the head. The music has been great since Little Mermaid, but I feel like Coco is what
Mm,
really launched everything into the next level for
okay.
Disney. Because in Coco, the whole movie is about the music, and I
Yeah.
feel like the music just in that movie is so deep. Like everything is got feeling and spirit to it. I really feel like that is the movie where Disney said, "Okay, enough with the cutesy cutesy songs. Like the songs to sing a song for a reason is great, but listen to this soundtrack." And I think Coco is what kicked that off because then right after that you have Frozen, which I know
Okay.
you
That no,
said you
I
won't
actually was
listen to
just
it.
gonna Google, like, which one came out when, so I'm glad that you knew the timeline on that.
Yep, I'm yeah. Did you look it up? Because I'm almost
No,
sure Coco was first.
let's see. Um,
And the reason why I think it was Coco because I remember going back, like, with my kid, when my son Finnick was a baby, and I was like, we're watching the movies, or not a baby, but a little kid, and I was like, "Where this Coco movie? Like, where did this come from?"
oh,
Ooh, I'm
Frozen came
wrong?
out in 2013, and Coco didn't
Okay.
come out until 2017.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so that's, like,
My
it's
time. See, my
significant in, like,
timeline's way
movie
wrong.
timelines, though, that's a pretty significant, like, gap.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking Big Hero 6.
It's okay, it gave plenty of time for Idina and Kristen to have their flowers, so it's good.
Right? But well, I mean, still, so Coco came out after Frozen. I'm
Mhm,
still gonna say Coco is what really turned it around. Because I mean, even Frozen, like I feel like Frozen still has the cutesy cutesy songs, but Coco's where stuff started ramping up because that's when Moana came out after that, and that
mhm.
whole Moana vibe throughout the whole movie. Of course, Lin Manuel behind that.
So good,
Um,
yeah.
you're right. And then we just like everything started coming after that. Now music plays such I feel like such a more important role, and not even in Disney movies, but we're seeing that come out in the Universal movies, like Sing
And
for crying out loud. Like
yeah, oh,
we were
yeah.
just talking tonight how my kids are singing a song, and I'm like, how do you know that song? They're like, Dad, it's in
Right.
Sing. Like,
They're like, "The
oh,
pig sings it."
right? It was Johnny. Johnny was singing it.
Nice,
So
and
it
Zootopia 2 is about to come out, and they just released the soundtrack for that, and you have, Ed Sheeran and, Shakira wrote a new song for it. I heard it, yesterday
yep,
on Radio Disney. And I know we know that Lin-Manuel had a commitment to the Lion King movie, to the Mufasa movie, because it was supposed to be a series,
yep,
and that is why he didn't do the second Moana, and you can feel it for sure, but it doesn't mean the music is bad. It actually is still a value, especially to
right?
the film and to the story.
Can I get a Chihu? I mean, come on.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, "Choo!"
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Lynn was definitely missed in Moana 2.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, but it was 2 ladies that stepped up into the music for that one.
Yeah. Which was
And
big shoes, and he
mhm,
helped he still helped them, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I thought it was still great. Um, Moana 2, I loved the movie. And I told David
I
we're not
loved
gonna
it
get
too.
I told David we're not gonna do a whole Disney episode, but
Okay, okay. Well, we'll move
um,
on. It'll be a
right?
full we can talk about all the other music that I
No,
love
that's
and
all
that
right,
you
that's
love.
all right. I'm it's my damn podcast. David, you can't tell me
Yeah,
what to do. No, I
yeah.
loved Moana too, but I hated and again, David, I'm sorry, this is something that you do all the time, the Marvel finish. You know what I mean?
I loved the light. I thought the animation of the lightning was so cool. I'm a huge storm person,
Oh,
and
no, I'm not
that was
talking that.
just like, oh, which
I'm not
part are you
talking that.
talking about? Not
I'm
like
talking
the
about just
okay,
the whole, like, I think it was the after credit scene where they're
like,
like
go leaving it open for something else?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I get Marvel's doing it, and I was just so, like I love after credit scenes, and it happened, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? They're marveling us right now." And even my kids are like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "They're setting up the next movie,
Yeah.
and that means we know there's gonna be Moana 3. We knew there was gonna be Moana 3 when Moana 1 came out. But now
Yeah.
if it doesn't happen,
Then
Imma be
everybody's gonna
mad."
be like, "It's just hanging by a thread."
Right? Right? Just finish up the story. I mean, look at Frozen, like, finish up the story, create a new story, and move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Moana 1, they wrapped up the story. Moana was happy, she got on her boat, she went back home. Maui was happy, he got his hook. Moana 2 comes along, you pick up the story. You like,
Mhm.
why do we have to have a Marvel finish? Just
We don't.
if
We
that's
don't,
what we're
and
gonna
people are
do
tired of Marvel finishes, right? It's like, this is
they
where we're
are.
at. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is there really any movies after Endgame?
No, and I
I
actually was
mean
telling somebody the other day, we were talking about besides I have a lot of jobs. I work at a dealership during the day. I work for Bath& and Body Works on the weekends and during the week occasionally, and then I have my cake business. I was at the mall when I say I'm at work, and we were talking about Endgame, and I was like, "I'm just gonna be honest, I've only seen it once because I'm a huge Tony Stark fan, and it just wrecked me." So
oh, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
oh, no,
Um
really, we're like 10 years down the road. If you haven't watched it, then that's on you, so
It is on me. We stopped watching at Ant-Man versus the Wasp.
and Endgame is after that?
Yep.
You haven't seen Endgame? You need to
Nope.
watch Endgame. It's a perfect finish. Yeah.
So my wife and I were watching them, and we were going in chronological order, and we were doing
And I
a
also
great job
didn't
of
give
it.
any information. I just said I really love Tony Stark, and it wrecked me. Anything could have
Okay,
happened.
okay. I mean, it's been 10 years. He's dead. He'll be back though. He will be back.
He will be back. I'm so excited.
He's like Jesus, man.
He is
Give him
like
3 more
Jesus.
movies and he'll be back. No, so we watched them in chronological order, and we got up to Ant-Man versus the Wasp, and it was like one of those things where at this time we'd been marathoning for probably 2 months, and COVID was releasing and letting up, and people were going back to work, and both her and I were like, "Do we really need to finish this,
Mm.
or can we just watch TikToks about it and figure out what happens?"
Get the
And
synopsis. Yeah.
right, and that's pretty much where we left it. We're like, let's just okay, Tony Stark dies, and that's all there is to it. So,
We
but
might
I
be
will say,
blacklisted after this for giving that spoiler, Andy.
uh, David, cut that out. Just edit that little portion out there so we don't get flagged by the big Disney. Um, I will say though, to combine worlds, the
Mhm.
Shrek, I Need a Hero, and then the mashup that they did. I'm sure you've seen the video on YouTube of the final fight scene,
Mm.
for Endgame.
Mhm.
is the first time I watched that, it was like full body chills, tear rolling down. I hadn't even seen the movie, but I'm like, this song works so beautifully with
Yeah.
these scenes.
You
Why
know,
didn't they use this in the actual movie?
speaking of music, since you just are on Disney, but I will go as far as to say that, if I'm saying, like, scores as a whole, How to Train Your Dragon is my favorite. DreamWorks does music beautifully,
They do.
and, bringing John Powell's music back into the live action, which is, by the way, probably my favorite live action. They did such a beautiful job, is just it's so magical, and yeah, I just wanted
So
to say that since we're
I got
talking about
screwed out
music.
I got screwed out of that deal. My
Mhm.
kids and my in-laws went and saw that movie without me and my wife.
Rude.
So, I haven't seen the live action yet.
You need to see it,
Um,
100%.
it's on our list, along with Gabby's Dollhouse, the
Oh,
live action Gabby
perfect.
Dollhouse.
I would say actually watch How to Train Your Dragon
Yes,
first.
yes. No, we're very excited to watch that one together, as a family when that I think it's out, we're waiting for the price to come down. I think last
Okay,
time we
yeah,
looked,
it
it was
just came
still
out, like, last week, yeah,
yeah, I think it was still in the $30 to buy it on Apple Movies or whatever. So we're waiting for that to come down before we buy it, but that is on the list of ones to buy. Um
perfect.
so totally to segue off of Disney, unfortunately, we're like 25 minutes into the podcast, and we've been talking Disney for most of it. Let's talk about your cakes. So you said you're a cake
Oh,
decorator.
yeah.
While we were setting up the podcast, you mentioned that you're throwing some cupcakes in the fridge. And I know that when I mentioned to David, he's like, I said, yeah, I'm gonna have Jessica on. He's like, oh, she makes the best cakes ever. Like she made some birthday cakes that I still think about at night.
He did
So
say that to me recently. He's like, "I talk about it all the time." And I was like, "That actually is really that's really nice because I don't get a lot of feedback on my work, like, even when I post it online,
Mhm.
it's always just like, likes and hearts." And I'm like, "Come on, like, talk about, like, what is making you feel this way about it." So,
Right,
what
right.
would you like to know?
Well, and as I was doing show prep, I was looking at your Facebook, and you have made some amazing, beautiful cakes.
Oh, thank you.
Not only things that look amazingly delicious, but like your artistry behind them. There was and I'm totally gonna get it wrong. It was a Highland cow one.
Oh,
I think I
yeah.
saw.
Yeah, 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 a
Yeah,
couple months ago, I did that. Yep.
that one was gorgeous. I saw Frozen one, even though you didn't like the movie. You made an amazing cake with
Thank
Anna and
you.
Elsa on it. I was actually at one point, my wife was walking by my office, and I'm like, "You got to check out these cakes." And she's like, "Look at them." She's like, "Oh my gosh, those are awesome!" And I'm like, "This is the lady I'm talking to today." She's like, "Is she bringing cake?"
Is yes, I will
Probably
ship
not
it
for
to
me,
Minnesota for you, yes. Unfortunately, it's really hard to do that. Somehow
right?
Goldbelly and frozen cakes works, but, for the type of cakes that I make, that would be a difficult thing, although I have flown with my cakes before, so that's always maybe I need to come out to the Savannah Bananas game in Minnesota this summer and drop off a cake,
Yes,
so
absolutely. I'll buy you tickets. So I also saw on Facebook you are a huge Savannah Bananas fan.
it has become my personality this last year. I am not a sports person, like, my sports knowledge is of I love the Olympics. I love the Winter Olympics
Okay,
and
yep.
gymnastics. And, yeah, Banana Ball has just gotten my heart. That organization is really incredible, so, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to come to Minnesota. They came to St. Paul once, and played at CHS Field, which is like our minor league field.
Oh, cool.
Think that was like last year. But yeah, they're coming to Target Field now. Um,
Yeah.
I've already been told like good luck getting tickets. The stadium
Yeah.
seats 65,000, and they're expecting like a sellout within the first like 3 hours.
Yeah, so it's a lottery system,
Yep.
um, and they have, I think Jesse's most recent video, Jesse's the owner, he said in the first 24 hours, there was 2.4 million people that signed up for tickets, and he broke down, like, each city of, like, where the most interest was. Um, I lucked out. I've been trying to get in the lottery for about 3 or 4 years. Last year, I wish I could tell you how this happened because I don't even know, and I actually found out this year that it's even more rare than I knew.
Jeez.
But I ended up getting into the fan club, which allots me to buy tickets, and
Oh
so without a
wow.
lottery. And that is not a guarantee either. I don't remember if I clicked on an email link or literally the cosmos just aligned perfectly in that one moment,
And somehow
and
you're
I
in.
and somehow I'm in, because there were a lot of people that didn't even get in this year that I'm watching in this, like, face group page of fans, and, it's called the K Club because potassium, and
Yep,
bananas.
yep.
Um, and so I knew that I wanted to go to 2 specific games. Actually, when I booked the first one, this is how dumb I was into the organization. I didn't realize it was opening day. I just
Oh,
booked it
gee.
because it was in Mesa and it was gonna be a cheap flight.
Yep.
And once I got looking at the calendar, I was like, "Oh," I was like, "This is opening day." And it was amazing. Like, that experience will never be able to be replicated for me. I was in the same hotel as the players.
Oh, wow.
It was a small stadium. I mean, it's small. It actually is pretty large comparatively, but, um, it was very special, but I also missed out on a lot of things being new. And then we booked tickets to see them up in Louisville, and that was one of their other teams, the Party Animals and,
Yep.
the Visitors, and the Visitors is their team where they audition future players, so it was very special. Anyways, and then you're able to buy tickets from other K Club members. It's very strict, like, they have very strict rules. That's my personality, and that's not
I
music, but that's yes, has become my personality this year,
I
besides cake.
mean, this podcast extends beyond just
Okay.
music. Like I said earlier, this is a chance for the people in the group to know who they're talking to. So now that we
Awesome.
know a little bit more about you, if anybody wants to send you banana ball information or
Yeah, if they're like, "Come to
talk
my
banana
city," I'll be
ball.
like, "Fly me there, and I will buy you and I will get you your tickets," but you have to go with a K Club member if I'm buying those
Mhm.
tickets, so maybe I need
Well,
to come to
anytime you
Minnesota
wanna
and
come up to Minnesota, I will go out and buy cake making stuff for you. You
and I
can
can
come
make you a
over to
cake
my
there.
house. You can make cakes for
I'll
me
teach
and my
your kids how
wife.
to do it. Yes.
Oh,
Kids
please,
and I will
please,
do it. Yep.
my daughter would probably be in it for, like, 5 minutes
Aw.
and then done. My son would be, like, bored with it until you started, like, telling him about the science of everything, how the sugar and
Which
the
I don't
baking
even
powder and
know. No. I
make it
just
up.
do it. It's yeah. People are always like, "Baking's a science." I'm like, "Is it though? I don't know." Uh,
I
no, the art you
mean,
mentioned my designs. The
yeah,
art, that's my art. Like, that has really become over the last few years, I've learned how to, hand paint fondant. They're like 2D characters, but they just are so detailed and, like, you can go see I did, like, a halo cake that is probably one of my favorites. Then, um, I did, like, this, Peter Pan one last year that was just I found this piece of art and I was like, "I'm making that into a cake." And so, um,
I don't think I
sadly,
went
they're not
far back
it's
enough
not
to see the Peter Pan one.
you'll have to go see it. So my Instagram is Tiny Idea Cakes or Sweet Pea Jess, just the letter P, and I have all my cakes there. But yeah, that's kind of like my niche is hand painting like that. There are a lot of cakes that I say no to just because it's not. I don't do like vintage heart cakes that are really popular, or there's definitely like a lot of things that I don't do. But I have a lot of amazing people that come back every year, and I am super, super grateful for that. So today I was doing Beetlejuice cupcakes. If you want to
That's
segue
fun.
in, I was talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh, that's my favorite Halloween score." And I was like, "Me too." That opening note of the movie when you get the Day-O and then it goes into the deep brass, then it's like camera view over the little mod like, it's good every time. So, yeah.
So what kinda cakes were those again?
Listen, I already told you that that maybe I need him at my house, so if I say it 3 times, maybe he'll show up, hang
Oh,
out with me.
we only said it once,
That's
so
true.
yeah.
My one of my very first passions is radio, since the beginning of time, and I wanted to work in radio. Um, I moved to New Jersey when I was 20, and I did work I worked in radio. I did, like, board operating, and
Okay,
some promotion stuff before I moved, and I should have that was when basically, like, terrestrial radio was turning into satellite radio. Not
okay,
turning
yep,
into, but it was becoming a thing. Sirius and XM were still 2 completely separate entities,
yep.
and I should have stayed. I should have been wiser in hindsight to go into satellite radio. but I just thought, "Oh, it's dying, like, I'm just gonna have to choose something else." And so, now we're in a I'm not playing music, which I love, taking phone calls, but sitting down and having a conversation with somebody in a podcast form is the same for me, and I just, I love that so much, and I had the opportunity to podcast for 5 years. I was a producer and co-host of a podcast, a local podcast, and, it was a lot of work, and it was amazing. There's a lot of cool people here in Utah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but my
I've
love will
I've said
always
that
be in radio.
I've said that both times I've been to Utah. Like, Utah people are just so friendly, so nice, so open. I know the first time I met you, was at the auction, the live auction last year.
Mhm.
So not the most recent one, but the year before
Yep.
that. And it was like that's why I love this group and I love Utah just in general because when I was down there, it was like I left that live auction that night or the charity auction that night and I'm like, I need to like write down 10 names right now of people I talked to because I'm not going to remember tomorrow, but I'm still going to
Sure.
remember the conversation. Like, I remember you and I were talking Disney.
Yeah. 'Cause you were getting
Hafeez and
ready
I
to go
were,
on your trip. Yeah.
yep, that's right. Yes. Cause, later in September, I double dipped. I went to Utah and then I went
Mhm.
to California for a wedding and then went to Disneyland. So yeah, I was getting tips from you. And I think we chatted back and forth even after that, on
Yeah.
Messenger, like tips and tricks. So I mean, like I love how we can just in this group branch out.
Mhm.
And that's like I said, that's what the Coast to Coast show is going to be all about. And that's what we're doing right now. We're learning more about Jessica and when people have a cake question or Savannah Bananas question, they're going to know somebody in the group who they can talk to. And
You're like,
basically,
"Oh
we're
gosh."
networking without the business. Unless you want to buy some awesome cakes, then call Jessica first.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just depends if I'm traveling or not. Hey, so I do wanna ask, and you probably already said this on Bud's, episode,
Yeah.
which I haven't listened to yet, but, you said that we'd be talking about first albums,
Yes.
and I have been, like, racking my brain for this, and it actually is very tender to me, um, like, if we're talking vinyl, if we're talking CDs, and, so I wanted to talk to you about yours first, and
Okay.
then I'll talk about mine. So, you said that your
Perfect.
first CD that you bought was The Lion King. That was from your money. Do you remember your first vinyl record?
My first vinyl record.
Mhm.
So we did hit this on Buds, but
Okay.
I've I will gladly share it again because it's an awesome record. It was a Smurfs record.
Nice.
And I want to say it was like a greatest hits album. And what I love about Bud is he is the greyhound of records.
Mhm.
So like within 5 minutes after I told him, he's like, "This one," holds up his phone. I'm like, "That's the one." Like I've been looking for that because I want to get it back in my collection because it was literally I was probably 8 years old, and
Mhm.
we had this place in, Princeton called the Liquidation Warehouse, which was basically just like a overstock warehouse. They couldn't sell it in the store, so they would sell it at Liquidation Warehouse.
Mhm.
So I got 2 albums that day. I got the Smurfs record, and then I got Ray Stevens' "Cracking Up," and that was, like, my intro to, like, parody comedy music.
Oh,
So
nice.
those were my first 2 vinyl records. I don't have them anymore. I as a kid was stupid with records. Have no idea what happened to them. Probably just threw them out. But yeah, like those are 2 albums that and I'm weird when it comes to collecting music now. Like I have all this stuff. I buy stuff on Daybreak Records, but
Mhm.
I don't like going out to record stores. Like I will go to
Yeah.
record stores, but like I love finding stuff out in the wild and I
Yeah.
prefer to do it that way. So like I have to find it out in the wild. At a flea market's out in the
Mhm.
wild, but I feel like record stores are shooting fish in a barrel. You can go to a record store and pretty much find anything. But
Yeah, and
can
I
you
feel like
go
there's so much, like, new and
Mhm.
repressed, and I'm like, if I wanna find something that I love, I want it to be like an OG pressing,
Right.
which I know sometimes is a long shot, but that's the weird collector that I like. It's very rare that I'll buy there's a few new ones I bought. There's, like, a local band that, like, I have or it's not their band, it's just him as a solo artist, like, I have his albums,
Mhm.
um, but that like, would much rather look at, like, the antique store, through
Right.
people's collections, and unfortunately, and I know we've heard David talk about it, and he's put a moratorium on the type of consignment that can be brought in because literally there is so much of it here
Mhm.
in Utah,
Yeah.
and so, the Lawrence Welks and Osmonds of the world, but, and actually the Osmonds would probably be a value, but, um, yeah.
So going back, what was your first record purchase? What did you do with it? Do you still have it?
Like vinyl record? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Okay.
But I have very fond memories of vinyl albums because when I was very young, my biological mom, she had tons of records. Like I vividly remember like the Cars album cover. She had like the Carpenters Christmas portrait, Elton John's Yellow Brick Road. Like these are very
Yeah.
like seared into my brain as vinyl records. And I didn't have my mom passed away when I was young, and I acquired those. I don't know what happened to those records. Every once in a while, I think about I mean, I had them for a while. I had her record player, like 1980s,
Mhm.
like big speaker, you know. I don't know what happened to that either. I feel there was probably, like, 4 years where, like, I didn't care, which would have been, like, 10 to 14, and then my
Right.
cousins and I found a love of the Beatles, and so, like, every time we would go to the local thrift store, which is called Desert Industries, like, we'd be looking for Beatles records,
Mhm.
and we found some good ones, but, like, we have a record player to play them on, we just were collecting.
Right. Yep.
You know? Same reason that I have, like, a box of 8 tracks, you know, like, um, so I don't remember what my first, like, actual one was, or
Mhm.
even to be like, "This is what reignited my collection." I feel like sticks probably played a hand in that when I was, like, 19, I started collecting
Okay.
those, but now my collection is completely different. My collection is very different, so, yeah.
So I had a few records when I was a kid, and it was kind of the same thing. I think it was my dad's old record player. Um, and really the way I grew up, it could have just been like an auction find. My parents
Mm, mhm.
were auction people.
Like a
So it
state.
could Yeah, yeah, so it
Yeah.
could have just been something we picked up. My mom was an antique dealer. So I mean, I don't even know where the record player came from, but I remember like hooking it up to some horrible dead ass speakers with some wire I found in the garage. Like, and then I went to Liquidation Warehouse and I bought a couple records because I had this record player. And like I said, I was
Yeah.
probably 8, 9 years old. And put it on and I would just have fun with the records that I would have. Who knows where all of that stuff went. And then
Yeah.
throughout my life, I became a wedding DJ, in 2002, and for 20 years, 21 years actually, I forced myself to listen to nothing but the hits. Like I had the top hit radio stations that I would always be flipping through, and towards the end of it, I was like, "I am so done with
With popular
what
music.
everybody else likes." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was done with it, and I'm like, "I cannot wait," and that became my mission, my retirement mission was when I'm done with weddings, I'm gonna listen to music I wanna listen to, and so, getting out of weddings, that's when I started my collection, and actually, when I my rebirth into record collecting, my starting record is right here. I bought the Hamilton
The
soundtrack.
Hamilton
Um
soundtrack. Nice.
Yep, yep, I went out and it was right after it came out on Disney Plus, um, and I watched it, loved it, and I went to the record store to buy, my record player, U-Turn Orbits, and I saw Hamilton there, and I'm like, "If I'm gonna have a rebirth into this is the music I wanna listen to." And
Yeah.
so I grabbed the box set of Hamilton soundtrack, and that was kinda my rebirth into it. Now it's grown into this collection that's behind me.
I love it.
Um
I look at other people in the group's collections and hear
Mhm.
people talk about it, and I am very novice. I also have very minimal space, like, to be able
Yep.
to collect. I actually have the same, IKEA shelves that you have, but mine are suspended on the wall.
Okay.
And I was looking at it one day and I was like, I actually should probably take my records off of that because that's really heavy. So I had to move them over to like a bookcase. But,
Yep.
um, it's fun to hear how collections get curated and how people want to buy them.
Mhm.
I'm very pointed in the stuff that I buy. It's very rare that I'll be like, "Oh, like that sounds good," even though it's like not in my music repertoire. Like
Yep.
you look through and I have a lot, a lot of this artist and a lot of this artist and a lot of this genre um and I also love 45s so much, preferably with the sleeve, but I
Okay.
love 45s.
Yeah, I love that about everybody's collection is different. And I've always thought like so last when I was in Utah just this last time, we went over to David Relay's house and just flipping through some of his albums and seeing some of the stuff that he has, it's like, okay, I would never personally buy this album,
Mhm.
but look at this album. Like this is cool. Like, looking at the cover art and just you can get a feel for somebody by flipping through some of their albums and seeing what they like. And it's like, I can just respect your collecting of these
Mhm.
records because it's the same thing I'm doing, but it's not necessarily the same stuff I would buy.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about just the whole collecting stuff. Like we see it on auction nights all the time. A record that gets thrown up and we're like, so I've said to myself before, like, oh, that's gonna go for like $15 and be done. And then 5 minutes later, it's already up to $60 and you're like, "Really,
Yeah.
for that?" Like,
Yeah, I've
okay,
seen that
now I gotta look
also.
into that.
Or even sometimes there's one that goes up that you're like, "Oh, like, nobody else is gonna bid on that. I actually have a chance." And then it goes for, like, 80 or $90, and you're like, "Well, I'm glad that other people like it too, but also
Right?
I wanted it."
Wish it was mine. So,
It's fine.
I I feel like one of the things that brought me back to collecting records, and I don't think I've told this story before on a podcast yet, and I mean, like, anytime or even told people in the group this story yet. So if I have told you the story out there, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say it again. So my dad loved, like, the late '70s, '80s rock bands, and he was a big fan of, um, Leonard Skinner is the record I'm gonna talk about, so I'm just gonna throw them out there, but he had a milk crate that just had all these records in it, and it was, like, the one thing in his garage, and when I say garage, I mean, like, it was basically a barn,
Mhm.
that actually had a cover on it and was wrapped in garbage bags, was his one milk crate full of records. And I remember as a kid, my dad would always tell me, like, I have a record out there that's gonna be worth money someday. And I finally was like, you know, getting into music and I was probably 13, 14, 15. And I got interested one day because it just always in the back of my head. My dad told me there's a record out there that's worth money. And I finally said, Dad, what record is it? You say you have a record out there that's gonna be worth money someday. What record is it? And he's like, I have a Leonard Skinnard Street Survivor with the flames on it that I got from the record store in that milk crate out there. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like now being in record collecting,
It
I
means
find them all
nothing
the
to you
time.
at that age,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right. At
yeah.
that age, I'm like, whatever. And I mean, it's a really cool story, but like I said, I see those all over the place now. Now that I'm into record collecting, I have like 8 copies of them right behind me, but it's still a really cool story. My dad thought that was gonna be worth money
Mhm.
someday. And we had a garage sale, and my dad, like, he when it comes to garage sales at our house, like, he wanted nothing to do with them. My mom was basically gathering the stuff, putting it out there, putting prices on it. And so my dad was in the house and I'm outside helping my mom and this guy's looking around and he walks over and he's like, "How much for this?" And she's like, "Oh, 25 cents." And he's like, "Okay," flips her a quarter and he starts walking away. And my dad flew out the door, runs down the hill, runs out to the garage sale and says, "What did that guy just buy?" She's like, "I don't know, some record. I found a record in your garage."
No.
And he like starts flipping through them. And of course, it's the Street Survivor. And he's like, "Did it have people walking with flames on it?" She's like, "Yeah, that sounds right." "No, go get it back, go get it." Like and just freaked out and then went into the house and pouted. And then like it was even worse when they found out that my mom sold it for like a quarter
For
or
a
50
quarter.
cents.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so, like, that story, like, that just even watching that in the back of my head, like, I've always told myself every time I see a Street Survivor with flames on it, like, that's why I have 8, 9 copies of it because I have
Aw.
to buy it. and, like, my dad doesn't care. I've
Yeah.
told him before, like, "Hey, dad, I found that record." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." But, like, still in my head, I can't not let that record go.
Parents!
Like, I have to have that record. Every time I see a copy of it, I have to buy it because for crying out loud, my dad, I'm like, "Ah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
vengeance for you, father." So
Aw. I
told that
love that,
long
Andy.
story. Told that long story. Do you have a record that, I mean, you talked about some of the ones that your mom had.
Yeah.
Is there a record out there that, like, is just brings back such a flood of memories, whatever they may be, good, bad, ugly? Is there a record out there that when you see it, you almost have to buy it, even though you already have a copy, just because of the story that's in you?
That's so funny that you said that because there are a lot of albums that I see that I'm like, "Oh, I need to buy that," and I need to get my stuff on Discogs so I can, like, easily be like, "Oh, Jess, you already have that, you don't need another one." How many times I have almost bought duplicates, so I'm like, "At least I'm consistent." That's nice.
Right?
Um, so last year, I was able to, through the auction, buy a copy of Carpenter's Christmas Portrait, and for
Okay.
me, um, that album holds, like, losing my mom at a young age, holds a lot of still, like, good feelings for me, like, we always had these elaborate Christmases, and she would we'd listen to that album. I couldn't even tell you really, like, any other Christmas songs that we would listen to. I just remember listening to that and, um, I think having a copy of that is wonderful. I'm, like, listening to you talk about, like, going and buying these, and I'm like, was my first start back into collecting. Um, and I don't think it might have been, like I have weird albums, like, I love soundtracks, like Thoroughly Modern Millionaire,
Mhm.
Great Race on
Oh,
on
nice.
vinyl.
Yes.
But there's something about putting them on, and some people love this and some people don't. For me, it's a memory, the
Mhm.
sound of listening to a vinyl record. I just love that, like,
Yep.
the noise that it makes,
The
and
clicks, the pops, the hisses.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and putting I think putting on Mary Poppins for the first time when I
Mhm.
bought it, I was like, "This is what the sound is about for me." And, um, I I'm given a hard like, people give me a hard time all the time because I love buying singles, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, that's such a waste of time, you gotta flip it over," and, like, I'm not listening to them all the time, but I love having them, and I'm also very particular, like, I don't want remixes, just give me, like, the OG single, like, I love usually the artwork that's on them, and so besides having memories of the Carpenters, I guess what I'm saying is it's just the memories of listening to records and
Mhm.
that feeling of it that I love, and I love that story about your dad, actually, that's really amazing. But like I said earlier, it's Carpenters, and I would say, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is probably a vinyl record like that for me that I just have memories of listening to
Mhm.
and just I mean, what is that? Is that a double fold or that one folds out into
Gatefold, yeah. Yep.
3? Yeah, I think it might be even like a 3 gate,
Trifold.
trifold, yeah. Um I'm like, I don't know the words. But that is a very, very vivid memory for me of listening to that. And I mean, like as a kid, you don't understand what Elton John's singing about. And now as an adult, you're like, oh yeah, Funeral of a Friend is my favorite song. Love Lies Bleeding, so yeah.
So I can't remember the movie that it is now, but and I know it has Katherine Heigl in it, and it has a scene where they're in a bar and Benny and the Jets come on, and they start going back and forth. Like the guy's like, "Tell 'em how to do it," and she's like, "Those aren't the words." He's like, "Those are totally the words." That is
Is
one
it
thing I love
is it
about.
with Seth Rogen? Is it the movie she does with Seth Rogen where
Oh, it
she
might
gets
be.
pregnant?
No, it's not that.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not that one. It's not Knocked Up. Um, but no, like that's another thing that I love about records is like I remember as a kid, and again, the silly records that I may have had,
Mhm.
I still remember like putting on my Smurfs album, opening up the cover. or opening up the record, pulling out the lyric sheet, and like
Yes.
I can still sing "Dance with the Reggae Smurf"
Yes.
because I remember reading the lyrics and singing along. And like when we got CDs, like of course, I grew up, 94. I bought my first CD. Until I was DJing with CDs. Like I bought thousands of CDs in my lifetime. You know what sucked about CDs was opening it up and getting your magnifying glass out and trying to read the words
Yeah,
as you
the
were
little,
listening
like,
to it. Like,
sleeves. Yeah.
right, and like, my father-in-law loves records, he has a collection of his own, and we always talk about, like, when we finally get to sit down and just listen,
Mhm.
it's so fun to pull up that lyric sheet and just, figure out what they're saying. Instead of just making up nonsense in our head, you really get to, like, read the lyrics and get into that deep whatever that artist is singing about, whatever they're talking about, you really get to get into the nitty-gritty as you're reading along as they're singing.
Listen, at my age, there's even songs, like, within the last week that I've been listening to that I'm like, "Oh, that's what they said?" But I'm glad that there are still those moments that, like, there's so much music, and I think record collecting is very interesting because a lot of it is done off of nostalgia, right?
Mhm.
Nostalgia and memories versus like, "Oh, I'm, like, hardcore for this band. I'm gonna" which I know people are, especially with new, let's say, like, Taylor Swift, for example, like, everybody has to have every variant,
Yep.
that is a thing, and that,
Yeah.
like, there is joy in that, and that's cool that that has come back, but when push comes to shove, it's nostalgia of why you're collecting them in the first place, you know? My collection, just to, like, give a little insight of who I am when it comes to this part of my CD collection is very different. I actually went through a couple of years and got rid of all the jewel cases. They're all in sleeves now.
Oh, yep.
I I have them all fancy on my shelf still. I couldn't get rid of them because I love they all are very, like, tender to me. I don't even have a CD player anymore. Um, but my genres go from, a lot of Oingo Boingo, Erasure and Depeche Mode,
Yep.
some Pet Shop Boys, to, Cab Calloway and the Andrews Sisters. I have a lot of really, like if I'm buying old, like, Christmas music, I buy, like, really old Christmas music. My grandfather loves Doris Day, and last year
Okay.
at the store, I found a Doris Day Christmas record, and so on Christmas Eve, I am basic, and basically the group is gonna disown me after this because I have a suitcase record player that I love, and I took it over to his house on Christmas Eve, and we listened to Doris Day Christmas music. My grandpa's 93. Like, it
Yeah.
just you know and then, I have the Beaches soundtrack, and I have George Michael and some Michael Jackson, and, um my collection is very pointed though,
Right.
so and it's not to say that I don't love a big gambit of music, but in the scheme of space, like, this is what I've chosen is important to collect, and a lot of
Yeah.
it is off of nostalgia, so
And we all only have so much space, you know?
yes.
I mean, you gotta fill it with something, but we only have we all have a limited amount of space. Like, as I mentioned, I think before the podcast, my office has moved from the second biggest room in the house to literally the smallest room in the house. And as
Oh,
soon as I moved here, I'm like, I might need to cut back a little bit. I am out of space.
gonna build
And
up.
we gotta keep building up. But yeah,
Yep.
we all just have a limited amount of space, and luckily, I'm not to the point where I need to start getting picky yet, but
Mm,
some people are, and that's
yeah.
just the way it is. And I think I speak for the group that we will all give you a pass for using a suitcase record player
Thank you.
when you're bringing music to a 93-year-old person. Like,
Thank you.
I think in any case, if that's how you have to get the music to them, we will all
Yeah.
give you a pass.
Oh, good,
You
thank
know,
you.
I've seen videos and like TikToks and stuff about people bringing like that old music into nursing homes and watching people
Yeah.
completely
Mhm.
transform.
There's actually a
People.
documentary, and I wish I could remember what it's called. I talked about it's quite older now. It premiered at Sundance, but it's about how music and Alzheimer's
Hmm.
are intertwined, and it's beautiful and heartbreaking. But there's something once that music comes on that there's that little piece of the brain that remembers, and it's
Yeah,
really amazing.
it is, and it's one of those things where like you mentioned Doris Day, so I'm going to use that as an example. Your grandfather bringing in Doris Day, that's going to make him light up. Can you
Hmm.
imagine what it's going to be like when like I'm in the nursing home? Like my kids are going to be like, All
You're
right,
like, "Bring
Doris
me
Day isn't
Missy
working.
Elliott."
Get dad some Green Day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sitting there like all of a sudden, do you have the time? I have the
You're
time.
like, "I do now."
I know this song.
But in that
Nurse, nurse.
in that respect, also gifting, right?
Mhm.
Like, even like I've gifted to people that I don't even know if they have a record player, but I saw an album and I was like, I know that this needs to go to them,
Yep.
whether or not they have a record player. This has their name written all over it. It was a special record. I paid tons of money for shipping to get it to them, but there was something in that that I was like, this person needs to have that. And how cool
Yeah,
that like music does that, and vinyl records are still doing that, you know?
right. It's the original mixtape without the mixing.
Ugh,
Why
I
don't you
miss
why don't
making
you have this
mixtapes.
record? I mean, I've done that before too, and, like, I'm into record collecting, so I often forget that sometimes people don't have records, um,
Yeah,
or have record players, so I've done that before too, and it's like and I've told them, like, "Oh, hey, I got you a present." "Oh, I don't have a record player." "That's fine, look at this cover art. Look at the music. Put this somewhere in your house
smell
where
it.
you're gonna" Right. Put this somewhere in your house where when you see it, you can pull up your phone and look up that album, and on your
Yeah,
way out the door, hit play and just listen to the album. Like, you don't need to have a record player nowadays to still enjoy a record. Like I
yeah,
said, put it somewhere where you see it. Put it somewhere where it's art. My Muppet movie right back here is a beautiful cover art. Even if I
and the
don't
artist
listen
just
to
passed away,
he
actually.
did, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that. Um,
yeah.
wasn't he also responsible for, like, the movie posters? Like, a lot of the movie
Oh,
posters?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
pretty much everything from Star Wars to Hook to Neverending Story, pretty much any movie that was Back to the Future was your childhood,
yep.
like, he made those, and
I
they're
saw The
just
Goonies is something that they did.
yes. Yep.
Um,
Indiana Jones.
so the Goonies movie poster and total, like, sidetrack tangent, sorry. The Goonies movie poster, I found out just recently, like, I'm always used to seeing, like, how one person has their hand
They're
up on the
different
cliff and
ones, huh?
each like it rotates in order. They
Mhm.
purposely had him do the design like how many kids is there? 7 or 8? Like
Uh-huh.
that many different times to place each kid up at the top.
Yep.
So that they could have their own movie poster with them being the star of the show,
Mhm.
basically, at the top of that ladder. And I think the one that got officially released was Bran is at the top, right?
I think so,
Or something like that.
and I believe more recently, Sean Astin finally got a copy of his,
Yes.
which is really amazing. Yeah,
Yes. And he still lost the treasure map.
of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably the same interview that I saw with him talking about losing the treasure map where he said that he just got a movie poster with him on top. Um, but yeah, he talks about how he lost the treasure map. He stole it off the set. And then
Mhm.
they're like, well, where is it now? He's like, I don't know. My mom probably threw it away. Like, I haven't seen it in years. Like, I used to
His
be big
mom,
into
Patty
Nintendo
Duke, is like,
collecting.
"What is this trash?"
I used to be big into like Nintendo game collecting and I collected a ton of Nintendo games. And like there were so many times where I'd see on Facebook like my son moved out and he left this box here and I go look at it and it's like Nintendo games galore. Like I'll give you $20 for it. Like moms do that.
They do
Like
that. I'm pretty sure that's where why most of my stuff is gone. I mean, I also was very guilty of selling things because anything to make a dollar,
right.
but,
I mean, when I moved out of my house and moved on with my life, I was very happy to not have that anymore. And then I found this lovely woman who I'm married to now, and I remember there was a day where she cleaned up my office, my old house, and she tidied everything up and cleaned everything up. And I went down there and I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And like probably a month later, I'm was frantically looking for a piece of paper that like no joke was probably like I have these in my house right now, like probably looked like this to her. This is a drawing that my daughter did, but this was before my daughter. But probably looked like that to her, just nothing scribbled on it, just nonsense. But on that piece of paper I have a hockey stick that's signed by like 30 NHL alumni, and that piece of paper was I got the hockey stick because I announced an event, and that was my payment. And I still have the hockey stick, but that piece of paper was the key to writing out who signed it and where
Oh,
on the hockey stick they signed it. And that piece of paper was in that pile that she threw away.
no.
So now I have just a bunch of black scribbles on a white hockey stick and I can only like read 2 names on it. And I know there's like some awesome players on that hockey stick that signed it. Couldn't
Yes.
tell you who they are now. They're just a
Listen, I
scribble.
bet Reddit could tell you. I'm sure there's a hockey Reddit that you could just post it and be like, "Hey," like, and that's I don't do autographs very often.
Mhm.
Like we have a local Comic Con that happens here.
Yeah.
Um, my nerdy thing is to get VHS tapes signed. Like I have a collection of signed VHS tapes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Alright,
And
alright.
'cause for a while I was doing like 8 by 10s are the worst. Like they take up
Yes.
so much space. I'm like, "Why are people doing this?" So then I started printing out my own pictures at like 5 by 5s and 5 by 7s, so I can like put them up on my desk at work or
Yep.
anyways. And then I don't know when it happened, but I was like, "I'm doing VHS tapes." So I have a shelf of signed VHS tapes.
We got it. We gotta hit it. What's some of your most amazing
And like I'm
autograph?
looking across the room here.
Like, please
Well,
tell me you
most
have a Back to
recently
the Future with, the first
no,
Jennifer? Okay. 'Cause
no. So and if I don't own the VHS tape or I don't have somebody that has it, then I have to like buy it on eBay,
okay.
which is fine. Um My most prized one is one that I got last month, and I've had this VHS tape since I was, like, 17.
Okay.
The Oingo Boingo farewell tour, and Danny Elfman signed it for me last month.
Oh,
So
awesome.
but
Awesome.
I totally screwed totally effed that up. I was, like, shaking when I walked away from his table, and I took that and I also took an album, a vinyl
Mhm.
record that I had almost everybody in the band had signed except for him. So, everyone's like, "You gotta take that," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, okay." So, I walked away and I had the VHS in my arm, and I don't know where it rubbed, but it smeared his name, and I
Ugh.
was like, just, but you're like, "This is not your first rodeo. You have tons of VHS tape. Why are you doing this?" Anyways, my friend, like, insisted that I go back. She's like, "Just go ask the security guy, like, I'm sure they'll
Mhm.
be cool about it," and they were. Like, even Danny's reaction, like, I didn't have to go back in the line. They literally just handed it over him. He re-signed it at the bottom, and I
Right.
was on my way. So, um what else do I have? Joan Cusack is probably one of my favorites
Oh,
because
yeah.
we told her that we wanted her to adopt us and be our aunt, and I had her sign 16 Candles.
Nice, nice.
Wait, it's 16 Candles or no, Better Off Dead, is Better Off Dead
Okay.
because she has her braces and she's a water fountain and she, like, wipes her face with her little, like, sweatshirt that has, like, a dress. I have Elijah Wood's signature on Forever Young is actually one of my
Okay.
favorites, because he goes, this is one of like, J.J. Abrams wrote this,
Mhm.
and it was, like, his one of his first screenplays that got made, and I was like, "I actually did know that." Um, but, like, not having him sign Lord of the Rings or something like that, I was like, "Here's Forever Young."
Right. I'm
Um,
sure he signs Lord of the Rings stuff all the time.
sure, sure,
Like
sure. And listen, in hindsight, so we were Ke Huy Quan was at our last one, and
oh, yeah.
I wasn't going to meet him. My cousin was going to meet him and have him sign, she had a Pop Funko of him. And, like, I was like I mean, I love him, but I knew his line was going to be so long, which is why I didn't want
Yep.
to, but we walked over there, and there was no one in the line because he was getting ready to go on break, but he was so lovely to us, and I was like, "Well, crap, now I gotta buy a photo and have you sign it." In hindsight, I have a 45 of Goonies Are Good Enough, the
Oh,
single,
yeah.
and that would have been amazing to take,
That would've been
but
awesome.
in hindsight, it's fine. I'm trying to look over here and see, um, I have a I can't think of his name from Titanic, the bad guy. My brain just lost it. I have a lot. I just had Andrew McCarthy sign Mannequin for me.
Oh, wow.
Um, which
That is,
I was reading an interview after, and he, like, loves that movie so much. So I was
that is
like,
an
"Oh, that's
underrated
cool."
movie. I remember
It's
seeing
very
that as a
underrated.
kid, yes.
Yes. Also great soundtrack.
Yep.
I have,
Nothing's gonna stop
yeah.
now.
Um, that is
That
that's
is so
classic.
me and my 2
Uh,
best friends, that is, like, our song when the Minnesota Wild are I totally screwed up that word. When the Minnesota Wild are winning, and we're at the pub, watching the game on TV, when they start winning, we'll put that song on the jukebox and
Oh,
we'll just
wait, we're
start
gonna go
screaming,
for a walk while
"Nothing's
you're
gonna
talking.
stop us now." So,
Well, I'm very curious now because I haven't really thought about this for a minute. So let's do a deep dive into my we're gonna
Daybreak,
take
After
a walk
Dark,
over
coast to
here.
coast and on the
Daybreak.
move.
Oh, I have Warwick Davis signed
Oh,
Labyrinth for me because he's one
oh,
of
nice.
the
Yeah.
he's one of the characters.
Yep.
I have oh, I let's see. I had I'm gonna go through this here. There's not a way for me to like
I was
turn
gonna
my
say, just
camera
turn
around.
your
So
camera around, like, turn the
I'm
whole
not
laptop
fancy. I'm
around.
like, can I do that? Okay, so here's my Better Off Dead, and it's
Oh,
signed
yeah?
by Curtis. That is his name. That is, oh, do you know the street value of this? Oh, Billy Zane. That's who signed my
Billy Zane, yep.
Titanic. Yes. Um, oh my goodness. I had Fast Times at Ridgemont High signed by Judd Reinhold. um
Nice.
I have I have a couple signatures on 16 Candles. Anthony Michael Hall signed it for me, and um I don't know who signed the bottom on that one. Oh, one of my favorites is, hold on, let me get this back here. 28 Days, the one with Sandra Bullock
Yep.
where she goes to rehab. Yeah, Alan Tudyk signed that, and he said, "Can I sign her boobs?" And I said, "You can sign wherever you want to." This is Daybreak After Dark, so I can say that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I feel like I have a couple others that aren't here, but anyways, that's like my oh, I have Stand and Deliver. Did you ever see
Okay.
that?
I have
This
not seen
movie
that
is
one.
fantastic. Lou Diamond Phillips and Edward James Olmos. He's a teacher,
Okay.
and it's so, so, so fantastic. And I had Edward James Olmos sign that for me. So
So you've actually met all these people that are signing these.
I've
I
met
mean, it's
all
not like you're
these
setting them
people.
off,
Yeah.
right?
No, no. Oh yeah, and I had Kiefer Sutherland signed Three Musketeers for
Oh,
me.
nice. I love that movie.
I
That is
don't
another
even know how many
underrated
times we
movie.
watched that movie. Yes. Anyway, so that's a little look, I'm just watching a scary movie. That's
You're
a little
fine.
insight into my my collecting. So, and I also collect Hard Rock Cafe glasses, which I've been doing since I was 19.
So my wife always teases me about going through hobbies, and I love the fact that I am meeting somebody else with a collection hobby. Because I do the same thing, but, like, what I give it, like, 4 or 5 years, and then I'm usually trashing that hobby. Um,
Yeah.
like, I was into hockey pucks. I would collect autographed hockey pucks from wild players mostly. But I have, like, a tote of hockey pucks now that I haven't collected a hockey puck in probably 3 years, and now I have this tote of nothing, and she
Yeah.
always teases me about records. She's like, "When are records gonna become your hockey pucks?" And I always tell her, "It doesn't matter if it does,
Then you
because
go, yeah, then you're
that's a
done.
lot of money."
Yeah.
Like, I
Listen, and that actually is part of my collection. I usually only collect
mhm,
things that, like, if something happens to me, like, if somebody has to come in and, like, clean out my house, then there will be, like, a little bit of value if they have to resell
right.
things. Like, I have some really, like, beautiful pieces of Pyrex. I never thought I would be a Pyrex collector, but I have some beautiful pieces of Pyrex. I have some really old actually, they're World War II
Oh, yeah?
airplane spotting guides, mint
Oh,
condition. They used to sell them because they wanted people to feel like they were doing their part, like, in the war, and so, like,
yep,
here's what all the planes look like, here's who they belong to. um, anyway, so yeah, like, yeah.
yeah,
But that
I've
goes back
well,
to record collecting too, like,
yeah,
you look at the ones like, what's the one that, like, David had last year, the Butcher Beatles one,
yep,
right? Like, it's very rare, and I think value in what we're putting value on is very interesting, right? Like, "Oh, why does that need to be, hundreds of dollars?" But it is, there's value in
yep,
it because of the rarity, because of why it was pressed, because of how the cover was created, like, it's the story behind it that creates the value, right?
right, and really, it's not worth more than what the vinyl is printed on, and the cardboard that it is printed on,
Mhm.
but just like everything else, we're what adds the value to it, you know?
Yeah.
Just like any collecting, like, it's things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them, and
Yeah.
fortunately, right now, it's records, and
Yep.
I've told people this before, like, if anything happens to me, my wife has been instructed to box these up ship them out to David, and David will send her a check when everything's sold.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell her like, "Hey, I bought a couple more records," and if she ever like scoffs, it's like, "That's all right. It's just my retirement." So, is there anything else that you want to bring to our group? We learned so much about you tonight, and I definitely appreciate you being on our podcast today. Is there any other thoughts that you want to leave with the group? A nice little cherry that we can use in the TikTok promotion or in the real promotion as we're leading up to releasing the episode. Why don't you dump one last nugget of wisdom on our listeners before we take it off?
Nugget of wisdom. I am definitely not full of that at 9:30 at night, but, um, I am just thinking back to our earlier conversation and just the nostalgia and memories that, record collecting does and music collecting and just how it plays such an integral part in our lives. This last week, I did a deep dive into a band that I followed when I was, like, in high school, and they're a local band, and I hadn't thought about them for a really long time and just hopped on YouTube. I have their CDs, but, um, just listened through it and listened to we were talking about mixtapes earlier, how we used to burn
Mhm.
CDs, right? Like, that was the next thing, and, um, there was one I had been thinking about when I used to go to the goth club, and some really, like, industrial, like, music that I had on there, and, those moments are important. So, like, while we're collecting, like, it's fun to share those stories, the stories about your dad or just, like, remembering a first concert or, I think acknowledging, like, especially in this group with our, auction, these memories of why people are might be buying something is very important, very valid.
Yeah, and just like the
How's that
music
how's that for
itself,
a nugget?
I loved it. Just like
Thanks.
the music itself, it's
Yeah,
everybody does it for their own reason. It's completely
yeah.
different, and just because it's not your cup of tea doesn't mean it is for everybody. Thanks again, Jessica. Thank you for being on the podcast. We definitely appreciate you. You light up a room when you walk into it, and that is definitely shown as well into the auction room. When you make that first comment, it's always fun to say, "Hey, I know her. I ran into her. We talked Disney at Utah."
Well,
So
Andy, thank
keep
you.
no problem. Keep coming around. We love seeing you. And everybody else, we will be back in a couple weeks with another episode of Daybreak Coast to Coast. If you would like to be on an episode of Daybreak Coast to Coast, all you have to do is fill out this simple application on facebook.com in the Daybreak group. You can find that application there, fill it out, and then we will get in touch with you. Easy as that. Until next time, everybody, have a great night.